Alright, so this is the story of my 3 different Mora knives. I'm sure some of you guys have more, some of you guys have less. This is how I ended up with the 3 and what I think of them. So this is the Mora Knives Bushcraft Black Carbon Steel. And this was actually the first Mora I ever bought. And I really, really like it. The spine, kind of hard to see here, but it is razor sharp. Great for camp tasks, scraping, lighting a ferro rod. Of course, the Bushcraft Black does come with a ferro rod. It is high carbon steel, so you can use a piece of flint, chert. In my area, we don't have very many of those, but quartz works really good. And you can strike a spark off the back of the blade if needed. So, again, this one was my very first one. And again, hard to see here, but very comfortable in my big hands. Now, kind of give you an idea of my hand size. I can pretty much bury the entire knife in just the palm of my hands. So I've got large hands, and this is still comfortable. And I think this would still be comfortable if you have smaller hands. It just fits the hand very nicely. It's almost like they designed that. Weird, huh? Yeah. But very good, you know. A couple things I like about it. The finger stop right here, or choil, is really good. It's really rubbery and grippy. I don't ever feel like my hand's going to slip forward on it. The thumb texturing right here is really nice. Again, really aids in that grip. You can really get some leverage on it if you need to. High carbon steel blade, I like that. You can see this one's been used with the ferro rod quite a bit by the burn marks on it. And you know, again, I've only sharpened this one I think once, but it really does hold an edge very, very well. Probably not as good as the stainless, but easier to sharpen for sure. The handle is very good. Again, you know, it's got added texturing back here on the back for grabbing a hold of it. That does wear down a little bit and rather quickly, but again, very comfortable. Again, it's got the plastic backed handle on it right here. So again, this is only, you know, 3/4 tang. It's kind of a rat tail tang. So I wouldn't recommend, you know, pommeling this on something. I mean, you could in an emergency. You can do anything in an emergency. But it's not really designed for that. It's designed more for fire lighting, camp tasks, you know, bushcrafting, traps, that kind of stuff. Again, comfortable. I'm really happy with this knife. Matter of fact, we'll decide which one's my favorite when I'm done all here. So, but it's definitely like it. The sheath is the typical plastic Mora sheath. It does have a sharpening stone on it. And I almost wish they didn't include it. I may end up prying that off there, figuring out if I can pry that off there one of these days. It adds a little weight. It really doesn't sharpen very well. So, kind of gimmicky there. The ferro rod's nice. It's small, you know. It's definitely a backup ferro rod. But if you need one, it does work. It is there, and it does fit quite securely. I mean, it's really hard to pull out of that without actually really working at it. The sheath is good. This one came with 2 different options as far as the hanger goes. The traditional clip style, and then this more like belt loop mounted type style. I run the belt loop mounted type style. You can see I've got a lanyard on it right now because I was running this as a neck carry for a while. And I do like it that way, actually. It's light enough, it's small enough that it definitely works in that capacity. So, again, you can see down there, all their sheaths have drain holes, so helps get rid of excess water and that kind of stuff. The sheaths, are they my favorite thing out there? Nope. Do they work? And are they functional? For sure. So, nice. Again, the Mora Bushcraft Black. Now, the second Mora I ever bought was the Mora Garberg, and this is a full tang steel knife. Now, again, this one is the stainless steel model, and it is a little bit bigger blade-wise. So, I mean, if you look at the two side by side, you know, it is slightly thicker. I mean, it's kind of hard to see in this angle, but it is slightly thicker as far as the width of the blade goes this way, and it is slightly thicker this way as well. Not by much, but a little bit. Now, this is the stainless steel version, so this one does seem to hold an edge a little bit better than the carbon steel, but not by much. This one has been in use longer than this one was, and I'll tell you why, because I actually lost that one at one point in time, or I thought I lost it. Misplaced to be the proper word, I guess. It's got, again, full tang steel, so you do have the ability to, you know, beat on the pommel a little bit if you need to, you know, pounding like a tent stake in, or breaking a branch, or breaking a nut open, or something along those lines. You can also use this. It is sharp enough to use for scraping. So if you're needing to scrape bark or scrape tinder material, this will definitely do that. It is sharp enough to do that. So I think that's really good on the lift, that kind of with a little bit of an edge to it instead of rounding it all off. So, because that definitely helps with that. I obviously listen to people. Now, this is my only complaint about the knife, actually, is that this knife, with its really kind of hard, plasticky craton type handle, isn't nearly as comfortable as the Bushcraft Black. And it's also more slippery. You really don't get the same kind of purchase on this as you do the Bushcraft Black. And I have to admit, that does disappoint me a little bit. I may end up wrapping this one sometime in some athletic tape, just to give me a little bit better grip on it. The palm swells are good. The finger choil underneath of it isn't really as existent as it is with the Bushcraft Black. If you take a look at these two side by side, that finger choil right there really does make a big difference as far as the way that knife feels in your hand. So this one here, again, not nearly as grippy. Heavier knife too, which is good. I mean, it's a more durable knife. It really is, but it's not as comfortable. My 2 cents. Maybe more comfortable for you. Then the sheath. So this is the one that had been in use the longest, so it probably has the most homemade modifications to it. I've got a large sail needle attached to the back of this one right here. Needles are hard to make in nature, and so it's there. It doesn't weigh anything, doesn't cost me anything. Just taped down on the back of that. It exists there if I ever need it. I do have a large ferro rod. If you guys have seen any of my other videos, I prefer the large ferro rod. Now, this one has been almost destroyed by my buddy who was learning how to use a ferro rod, and he's got some motor skill issues, so he really put some speed bumps in this one. So this has to go into the shop and get sanded down a little bit. Carefully, by the way. I don't know if you've ever done that, but sanding a ferro rod can be a dangerous thing. And then it's just secured with some bicycle inner tubing, and it works actually pretty good. It actually works as a good tinder material too, if you didn't know that. The sheath on this one comes with 2 different options. This one I left with just the pop-in, where the knife just pops in the top. It holds securely enough. They make another one that comes with this that slides off and slides on, and then you've got like a little overstrap onto the back of the knife. To me, it doesn't look like it nearly, I don't even know I have it out here anymore, but it doesn't look like it's would actually hold the knife in any really much better than just the old friction fit, to be honest with you, because it just barely kind of hangs on the top, and it's kind of floppy and kind of falls off and doesn't seem to really do much. But again, a good sturdy knife. And was it what I recommend? Yeah, you know, it's definitely not the worst knife out there. Matter of fact, I carried it a lot. I still carry it a lot. Now that I found this one, wait till the end. Okay. This is lighter. This really is lighter. So, depending on what I'm doing. So, we'll go over that in a second. And then this is the Moras Knives Companion. And I do, when I go out hiking, exploring, whatever the case may be, I do have what I call a bushcraft bag that I carry with me that has some materials in this, and this is always in there. Now, the Companion is good as far as ergonomics go. It's good. Let's put it that way, okay? It's good. It's more comfortable, I would say, than this one, for sure. Than the Garberg. Definitely more comfortable than the Garberg. But not nearly as comfortable in the hand as the Bushcraft Black. The Bushcraft Black has just some different finger swells to it. If you guys ever looked at these two side by side, let me hold them up for you. The Bushcraft Black on top has that deeper finger choil, and it just really helps just have your hand fit. The way the Companion falls off really far there kind of gives me a bit of an awkward grip on the knife. And again, it might be with my large hands, but it just like I can't get my index finger around it comfortably. It's just too small there. It's just too small of a neck. Like I have to really like wrap it up in order to get my finger to go around it, and it's not comfortable. So my index finger ends up kind of even having to find a spot that's weird, like angled back and not right there. It's too narrow here. And then this fat palm swell right here is really fat. So it's like, I don't know, it just isn't as comfortable in the grip. It's not bad. The rubber on it's grippy, so I don't feel like I'm going to slip on it. You know, the choil could be a little deeper and taller, just bigger there. And then the thumb grip, well, it doesn't have the ridges like the black does. The rubber does grab pretty good there. Now, to light a ferro rod with one of these, you do have to file the back of the blade. So let me see if I can get that to focus. But mine has been filed, so that way it'll actually strike a ferro rod. And it does. It doesn't do it as good as either of these two knives. But again, this is kind of in my bag in case of emergency knife. So I do try to use all my knives and see how they work and function, all that kind of stuff. So you can see this one's been played with quite a bit. But again, sharp, yes. All the Mora knives come actually razor sharp, and they're really easy to sharpen. So again, for the price point, this thing is stupid good, stupid usable. And it's like, you know, what, a quarter of the price of this and a third of the price of this. So is this worth it? Yeah. I would, like, if you're like a scoutmaster, or you've got a teach bushcraft, or you take people camping on a regular basis as part of your job, and you need to be able to equip like a fixed blade knife for somebody for some reason, whatever the case may be, this definitely works. Clean it off a little bit there. So it does need a little bit of cleaning. I don't think I cleaned it very well last time I used it. So, but again, affordable, sharp, relatively durable. I would say, you know, more durable than most people will ever take them through. And this works really good. So the sheath, out of the two, my least favorite. And let me show you why. Cheapest knife though, so let's be realistic here. So we'll wait for some of our finest there to finish flying over. So gotta always love the ghetto bird. So this is the Mora Bushcraft companion knife sheath, and it's not bad. The knife fits okay, and it doesn't fall out. It fits tight enough. This is actually nice. Now, I mean, let me go to this right here. You notice every knife I own has a ferro rod attached to it for the most part, unless it's a pocket knife. But this is one thing I do like that the Bushcraft Black doesn't have as pronounced. It's got this little thumb push on it, and on the wrong hand, but hang on. Once on your belt, it makes it really nice just to be able to pop that off. So push that back in there, pops in, and then with your thumb, you can push that off. So that works really, really nice. In fact, that's the only part I really like about the sheath. It does hold the knife securely. I mean, it doesn't come out and fall out or anything like that. This one, I do have another needle attached to the back of it. Again, this would be more like an auger type needle, better for like heavy work like leathercraft and that kind of stuff. I do leave a ferro rod attached to that at all times. This is a cheap Chinese one that I got off Amazon, and it works okay. I did have to re-glue it into the handle to make it work a little better. It wanted to come loose, but other than that, it's fine. Striker works okay. This is the only issue I have with this knife, is the clip system on it, and it's part of the reason why I dedicated it to my bug out bag, or not my bug out bag, but my bushcraft bag. And you can see right there the difference in the color and plastic right there. That is because when I climbed into my truck one day at the end of the day, this thing hooked and it just bent. Like you can see where it bends right there. It starts getting lighter and stretchy right there. Yeah, it really bent over. It turned the shape okay, but just after that, I just didn't trust it to be on my belt every single day, because I'm just worried I'm going to sit down on it and it's going to snap off. So can I get in the sheath for it? Sure. Am I going to need another sheath for it? Nah, it goes in my bag. All it does is keep things from getting cut up in my bag. So does it do that job? It does that job just fine. So that's kind of the tale of my 3 Moras. So what do I think about them? Favorite one? Definitely the Mora Bushcraft Black. Just from ergonomics, feel, the blade material, what I would do with this knife, how I would use this knife. I think it's probably the best of the group. I know it's sacrilege to a lot of people, but for what I would use this knife for, and these kind of knives for, yeah, this is my favorite. And it's the lightest. It's light, not lightest. That's actually lighter. That one's lighter, but it's almost as light, and it just feels better in my hand. It cuts really well. Again, fire prep, that kind of stuff. I would trust this enough to baton light things with it. I wouldn't baton a 8-inch log with it, but that's not what this was really designed for. Could you baton an 8-inch log with any of these? You could, if you just took it one little small section at a time. This knife, the Garberg, would definitely hold up to that kind of abuse better. But we're talking weight here, and it's significantly heavier. So how would I run these nowadays? Well, typically, these would be camp knives for me. So these would be around camp, or a light-duty hike or something along those lines, where I may wish to have a knife, a fixed-blade knife. But the reality is that, if I'm going, big time exploring or out in the middle of nowhere for a while, I'm probably, sorry, appreciate that, going to carry my Becker BK9. It's a heavy chopper. It works well. I always carry a pocket knife. It's a heavy chopper. I can do a lot of bushcrafting tasks with it. It's not as good for traps and triggers and that kind of stuff. But then I do have this in my bag all the time. So for those light duty tasks, light fire prep, yeah, I would still consider these great knives, and I still would recommend buying all of them. But that's probably my favorite. And that's probably, now that I found it again, will probably be for my everyday go camping, hang around camp. That'll probably be my everyday carry knife around camp. And then that'll be still in my bushcraft bag. And the reality is, I think this one's going to get left home most often. Just to be frank. So, anyway, that's my thoughts. Hope you guys have a good one.